Hello, team. Welcome back. Another Line More cast. Today we have Someone Said That My Nickname Sucks, who we obviously all know as Nickname, just Nickname to keep things simple, versus Swkoll. These two players are very high up on the Line War ladder. Probably going to learn a few things here. Both players on this map have opted for the center. You can kind of see the outlay of the map here a little bit. Nickname is in blue, Swkoll is in red. And Swkoll has this entire back part to expand to. Nickname going for a quick dock and 3 factories. I imagine getting across to this part of land will be important for Nickname at some point in the game. And Swkoll is responding with 2 factories and what is this? 3 barracks? 3 barracks. So I mean, we have no idea how this is going to shake out. Props to Nickname for posting these in the Discord, and you know, good luck to both players. We'll see what how this goes. Yeah, this dock right here would make me think that Nickname is going to want to go across the bottom. This is a decent island. These 2 gases could come into play. Nickname does have 3 pretty accessible gases, 2 immediately, and Swkoll has 1 gas here, and then there's 3 gases up north. We'll see. There's really only a handful of good starting gases for both players. So we'll see how this shakes up. And one of the things that we're gonna have to look out for is this gonna just get immediately aggressive in this field? Although Nickname is going for tanks. So generally what tanks will do is they'll be on just a retreat move, and they'll just book it around the army, get on top of the production and destroy the buildings, which they're very, very good at doing. I'm not sure what the plan is with these. They're maybe just waiting for 2 more tanks to pop out or 1 more tank. We can't really see, there's no like all view, so you have to kind of just click on each player. So things are still being produced. There's 3 more tanks being produced for Nickname, and this first little shipment of folks are going to get this South Island going. We can check the income immediately. Nickname at 320 and Swkoll at 332. So it's very early in the game. But you can see that Swkoll I think has a little bit better of an economic kind of set up at first, just because there's a lot of mountains that Nickname has to go through. They're putting down a barracks in the back here, which is going to really help back cap this left side of the map. But of course, this is looking really tough. Like on the production level, if Nickname isn't careful, Swkoll might just jump on this. And I think that's what they're going to do. I mean, clearly we can see that the command that Swkoll is going for is just the target, go kill the building, and absolutely nothing else. He's since stopped, or they have since stopped this command. And we're taking on, we understand the math to be 4 infantry for 1 tank. So you can do the counting of whether you think this is going to work for a Nickname. 2 more tanks actually pop out. And I believe these are SAMs coming out from I mean, yeah, they are SAMs coming from Nickname, but there's no air for Swkoll. I don't know if Nickname was preparing for Swkoll to use air. Maybe they're known for that. We don't know the players well enough yet to be able to tell. But you can see how well these tanks do. And the real question is, as the tank player, do you have the gas to be able to move these tanks? So defensive line with the tanks, we still don't know if that's good or not. It looks like it was working. And artillery really doesn't do maybe as much as you'd think against tanks. Or that's my read on it. But I'm just a duck. So if I'm wrong, then, congrats. The duck was wrong. Artillery are still SAMs, right? I think these are SAMs in the factory. We're still learning what everything looks like. We can go look at what Swkoll's following up with. 2 artillery and a SAM there, and probably want to check in on the econ as that position kind of deteriorates. Swkoll is at just over 400 and Nickname just under 400. We can look at like the kind of the prospects for the economic development of both players. Swkoll has like this entire open back part, and the nice thing about this is that they're open fields, and infantry moves slower through forests and mountains, so you have to do a lot of backcapping through forests. I mean, I don't know how much of a deal it is, but presumably it's relatively important. It's like a whole, we can see it right here. The speed penalty is like 18% if you control that territory. So if you don't control the territory, you're shaving off like a third or whatever of how quick you're going to be going. So the other player presumably would be able to cap more on an open field like this. You probably want to go into the income again. 440 for Nickname, 428 for Swkoll. So Nickname's now ahead in that economic game. Probably more boats being made, yeah, and they are missile ships, because if there's a chance you can use this kind of coastline to push along, because then if Swkoll does have air, the missile boats are going to be able to do really well against it. This is the progress of Nickname in the back. We can see Swkoll making decent progress on the top and the back, you know, with that kind of seems optimal 6 or so folks to kind of back cap while the rest of them go to the front. We can really watch how this develops. 3 more SAMs for Nickname. It's quite a bit of SAMs, and so the airfield that Swkoll's putting down is, depending on the SAM count, by the time things get up, it's going to be an unfortunate surprise or you know, encounter when you just run them all over SAMs. This is kind of close. Micro battles wise, I don't know who wins this. Bear with us on the replay thing, because as you change the player's perspective, because we want to see the lines that Nickname's saying, you kind of move the viewpoint. Yeah, so there's the gas is running out for Nickname, so they really need to put a gas down, and they will. But I presumably, yeah, okay, it's gonna be a, no. Is this a gas? This is a gas, right? Yes, that is for sure a gas. So they've taken the gas, but they're out of gas right now. There's no more tanks, which is like, you could say it's a good thing, but it's kind of a bad thing. Like, they don't, Nickname doesn't have any tanks anymore to be able to use, but gas-wise, they don't have to worry about it. Even though, like, moving the ships here isn't necessarily, you know, the biggest priority in your life right now. I do not think that Swkoll's going to be able to break that position. There's just too much artillery for Nickname. Backcapping wise, Nickname's making decent progress there. Swkoll is making better progress, it seems. Swkoll at 500 income and Nickname at 536. So yeah, Nickname's actually doing better here on the economy side of things. Neither player has gone for eco, it looks like, yet. We're just really kind of focusing on this battle, and we'll see if, is the Swkoll kind of trying to, no, okay, I was wondering if they're target commanding one of the buildings. They're certainly on top of everything with this one tank, although I really don't know how long they're going to be able to keep pushing this. Maybe forever, and they're going to be like, you're a duck, you have no idea what you're talking about, I'm just going to push this to win. And they very well might. Gas wise, we can see where they've taken their gas. And am I like not seeing this? The answer is they don't have a gas. Swkoll doesn't have a gas right now. I guess we can look at this. There's no production, so neither player has a gas. Nicknames is already kicking on. Okay, so that's there, but again, there's no real gas units that Nickname is using besides these boats, and it's 3 missile boats fighting a tank. So I have no idea what that interaction looks like in real life. But okay, so a tank can kill a missile boat on land, just launching shots off the coast. That's not a comment on balance, by the way. I think like the balance in this game, I don't know enough. I think it seems pretty reasonable. I'll never know what to do. Swkoll is backing up, and this is the right call, I think, because there's no way that this is going to go well. At a certain point, even if you get into the mountains, the reinforcement point for Nickname is just so much quicker. And Nickname is going to cap these bottom islands. Like, Swkoll's made decent progress, but the real indicator of who's done better here is going to be the income. And Swkoll has 584 and Nickname has 632. So in the kind of like setting yourself up for this mid-game economy position, I think Nickname probably has better prospects, but it's very close. I mean, this game is really cool that you can kind of come back from most situations as long as you kind of plan it out right. Running into 2 artillery with 5 sort of 6-ish infantry. I'm not sure what the math on that is, but maybe with a helicopter, I don't think Nickname's gonna be able to kill this factory. It might be able to give Swkoll some panic, but in general, I think that's gonna be safe. Nickname is making some cruisers to try to make sure, that this entire lake, ocean, whatever, is theirs. Okay, here we go. This is what we have to watch. 2 helicopters. Can they get rid of 3 infantry before they kill the factory? This is what keeps me up at night. We have to keep watching that. That's in the top here. We want to see that Nickname is actually making a push, but they're going to run into a bunch of artillery just kind of standing on the at the factory. So we don't know. There's no way this is going to work. There's especially artillery out here. This tank is booking it to try to get this gas, because that's an enormous gas. You can see Swkoll, like that is their only gas right now. If that goes out, the helicopters have to be on the ground, and that is no good for them. This dog for Nickname isn't really doing the most right now, but it's always so scary to not have the navy that you want if you start getting owned here, right? Like, so building cruisers I don't think is a huge mistake. Big snipe from the tanks on the gas, as we just saw. And you really see like the value of tanks here. And it only takes 2, right? Like, this was a very, very good play by Nickname to get that. Because all this investment into the airfield and the 2 helicopters that are sitting here, it's just wasted at this point. That being said, there's a huge numbers disadvantage for Nickname going up to the factories. We'll see how that develops. The tanks out here for Swkoll are actually out of gas because of this snipe. So it's an enormous play by Nickname to get this. Because now these tanks can't get into the dock, can't get into any of the production. They aren't, they aren't really a threat in the same sense. Income check on it, 716 for Swkoll, 764 for Nickname, who just took out the airfield of Swkoll. This is, I don't know. It's starting to look like Nickname really is kind of gaining a little bit of momentum, especially since they just took out that production of Swkoll. The tanks are going right to what I assume is just like where Nickname knows the second gas is going to be, because if Nickname can keep these helicopters on the ground, this is a huge win for them. This artillery arc is very good. Likely going to be fine there. This tank will get through, but is going to be met by 2 tanks, and we can see what's going on in the rest of the map. Some economic development by Nickname, which is huge to really give that boost that will pick up. And they have the South Island. There's no economic development by Swkoll as of yet. And this is, you can really see how much, think about how many resources these helicopters and infantry are just to get 1 tank that's just ripping by. And Nickname's gas is doing fine. These boats aren't moving all that much. The 3 cruisers is probably overkill, but there's a gazillion things going on in this game, so I do not blame Nickname for continuing to make them. And you very well might want to continue making them. Like, you don't actually know if Swkoll somehow has a dock that's producing. You want to keep these missile ships safe. We can see a tank run by Swkoll here. If they can get on this economy or this production, that would be big, but Nickname notices it and is pulling tanks to deal. I mean, at this point, it's whoever keeps track of like kind of the multitasking moment of these 2 tanks. They want to make sure that their 2 tanks come out on top. Nickname is going for a push, and likely they'll be able to take out this factory. With what they have here, they likely will be able to. These artillery pieces are kind of getting stuck behind one another, which is unfortunate for Nickname. And here we go. This is where you see the multitask. And, that can be the difference between having gas and not having gas, or having production, not having production, as long as Nickname remembers that this is happening. And it looks like they are. We can see what Swkoll's ideas are by looking at the lines that they're making, so they also feel very strong in the center part of the map, and they will be pushing it. They have the entire north. They are making their way down this peninsula, which is, we'll see what the income is. It's 824 for Swkoll, and it's 995 for Nickname. But I think Swkoll, if there's a little bit of economic development, Swkoll will be able to pull back here, like get even in the economy. This is clearly not ideal, but again, a zillion things going on in the game. It's hard to pay attention to all of it. I just can't imagine that, like, these artillery are already deployed, which is the big thing. So maybe if the infantry can take out enough to kind of give Swkoll the artillery number advantage, but I don't think that's going to happen. These tanks are doing great, so here you go. This is clearly in that multitask battle. We also missed it because, I mean, I didn't notice they got all the way down here. I'm trying to focus on all the things happening. So that can actually do a lot of damage. If they take out this city and these 3 industries, that's a decent loss for both the immediate income and what you can develop with that into a city, which gives you like 10 territories worth of income, which is quite large. We can income check again. 998. Now that we see that this town was destroyed, or this town was destroyed. Swkoll is kind of coming back here, although this still scares me. These helicopters are going to have to help in the center, but these 3 SAMs will at least make it so the helicopters have to trade super unfavorably into that if they want to start taking out the artillery. So we can see that Swkoll's tanks are doing a great job to be as annoying as possible and really making use of that mobility advantage with their speed to check this gas and to kind of get an idea of how far up that island Nickname has got, I guess, in some sense. And Nickname sees this and is pulling tanks, so realizes that those tanks are still on the loose of Swkoll. Swkoll doing their own economic development now, which is going to be huge, and I think that if they can hold this off and then they have econed up, we might find that the economies are actually now in Swkoll's favor. We also could be reading that entirely wrong, but we'll see. We can go look. We can watch how this goes. We'll let the audio just play. Sound design in this game is, I mean, I like it. And I bet you needed medic. Nickname is reinforcing this and out of gas, so we can see where the gas is for Nickname, because Nickname lost their only refinery. So that these tanks of Swkolls are just like the real MVPs right now, because there's only one more gas of Nickname now. So their own tanks, it's going to be hard for their own tanks to chase down this one tank now. Which will be frustrating and allows Swkoll to push with their own tanks through the center. Because you can imagine, like, this is a huge. I mean, there's 5 tanks over here for one tank for Swkoll. So Swkoll's done a fantastic job to multitask this, and Nickname, although they likely still have the economic advantage, not even by much. Yeah, this might start getting tough. See, and this is why it was a smart move for a Nickname to keep building cruisers, because there is actually a dock of Swkolls in this lake, and so if you lose this, it would be very tough. Also, quickly want to shout out the fact that Nickname uploads replays in the Discord no matter whether they won or lost, which props to them, because not everyone would want to show off losses, so it's extra fun to cast these, because I have no idea if Nickname won or lost. No clue. We can check the income. Swkoll has now cracked 1100, and Nickname is officially slightly behind. Although again, it's going to be hard to push into these mountains. This push and pull aspect of the game is quite interesting, because Swkoll might just run up against these mountains and get turned around. We'll see. The helicopters will be huge for Nickname if they can get them out, because there's no SAMs here immediately. The big problem is going to be gas. Okay, these 3 tanks are, I mean, that's, The tanks have the exact same stats, 3 against 1. It's not going to be good for the 1. We can see what one tank, how many shots it takes from like at least 3 artillery. The commandos are going behind, and this is a big play because Nickname, if they can take out this gas again and snipe some of these industries, that'll be huge for getting back into this game and starting to reopen that, like, you know, multitasking your opponent and getting them on their back foot. These tanks are kind of sitting for these helicopters. I mean, we don't know how good helicopters are against tanks. Just shooting machine guns at them. Can 2 take on 1? Are they? They're gonna get it. Okay, so 2 helicopters. Okay, cool. That seems fair. This commando unfortunately walked into 2 artillery and infantry. And although commandos are stealth, once you have enough units around them, you detect them automatically. Nickname going for this run by to try to get on this production. They might sense that this is a dangerous situation for them, although probably not, because they are moving out themselves. Like, if Nickname is moving off of this mountain, they probably think they're fine, or they know they need to move, because Swkoll is at 1,300 income and Nickname is at 1,200. These tanks, unfortunately, are just kind of running up into like the best rallies for Swkoll, and the helicopters are still here. We'll see if the commandos can get the gas, because that would be big, and they probably are going to. These tanks are by, so they're kind of on the production now. This is the army for Swkoll that is, you know, potentially out of position. We'll see if this is where they want to be. It might make, you know, getting between this army and the production might have been the better thing, because they're kind of out in the open without the SAM support. But we'll see how that unfolds. And this tank is just, you know, taking the helicopters from the front, which is big. Nickname does get the gas, and we can see the rest of the development on the map. This factory for sure for Swkoll is going to die, and we're almost at the point where all the map is taken. We're new to casting games, so, you know, apologies that we don't see that this is actually a huge naval battle going on. You can see this is an enormous play by Nickname to keep with the cruiser production, because they didn't lose the naval battle, which is an understated thing in this game that we've learned. Here's the factory bug again. You imagine in real life you walk into a factory, you're like, hey, so how do you make the tanks? And they're like, oh yeah, let's just show you. It's just like you walk in, it's just a tank connected to a crane, just whipping around, flying through the air. Like, yeah, this is it. This is how we do it. We paint it as it moves. We set it up as it moves. I'm going on with that, but I just think it's so funny looking. This is a big battle in the center, but 3 tanks. I don't know if this is enough artillery. Yeah, Nickname might, like, you obviously don't want tanks to necessarily be fighting this fully. You kind of want them on production. That's like the best thing that you can do. Nickname is going to get the Navy. Like, it has naval control, which is big, is huge in that situation. We can look for the income 1,200 for Nickname, 1,340 for Swkoll. So all this economy that Swkoll's developed is come online, is helping out here and kind of like pushing them forward in this game. Nickname is reestablishing this economy, so in a few minutes, Nickname will be able to jump back up again. So we'll see like how effective these tanks can be. Yeah, Nickname's getting them out of here, because it's obviously kind of a tough situation with 7 choppers or so. Helicopters seem to get to this point where you get like a critical mass of them, and if there's no helos, or no SAMs, they do a phenomenal job. You can watch how they do against SAMs though. So that was 2 missile hits from SAMs, and that helicopter barely survives. That would be probably 1 more hit. We weren't really watching down here because this dock is so clearly dead. The only problem about this for Nickname is that all these commandos are going to not fight with that army, because they're going on that retreat command through. And these tanks are just going to bump up against the artillery and the tanks. Which is yeah, unfortunate. Like, this is hard to multitask. You imagine you like tell the tanks to go this way, and then they just kind of bump through the things. But they are able to get by. But is Swkoll doing the same? No, no, no. So Swkoll is attack moving these tanks. I also hope we're saying the players' names right, because whatever. I don't know how else you'd say this. SomeoneSaidThatMyNicknameSucks. So this is going to become a fight because there's a gas here, which is important. That's one of Nickname's gases, and that both players are investing infrastructure into that position. We got Sam's taking on the helicopters. I'm not sure if any have gone down. It doesn't look like any have gone down. If they had, that would be awful. I mean, helicopters you definitely don't want to just lose to Sam's. Or like I feel like it's a tough pill to swallow because you can get so much long-term use out of these helicopters because you can move them all over the map. Pardon me. That's true for any aircraft. Like you can put strikers and bombers on airfields or airstrips rather and get them out there. But helicopters especially because you can just kind of land hop them everywhere. So you know you want to kind of keep them so you can start transitioning to different things to build. That's how I feel. I still lose every helicopter I make every game because I just fly them over Sam's. Nickname is, well, I mean, these barracks have been here for a while. The economic development on the South Island is starting to happen. We can check the income again. 1,300 for Swkoll. And it's 1475 for Nickname. Yeah, so we saw that the economies of Nickname in the back coming online have really helped boost this. This is really heating up in the middle. This is potentially hitting a boiling point. And Swkoll's done a good job to kind of keep his forces kind of moving down the outside of the coast so that things like this can't, you know, Nickname can't take advantage of getting Sam's by, or commandos by. Very large battle here. I mean, Swkoll's going to win on this side, but I don't think it's so hard to push into these mountains. So it's kind of just this battle of attrition in the center. Although, I mean, there's some artillery pieces. I mean, one artillery piece sitting at home. If they're able to push this center, I mean, it would be great. We can see that Swkoll is making a dock up here. This is probably a great call. This is how this is going. Yeah, there's too much ground force development from Nickname. So the artillery might be able to kill that, or it might get totally overrun. We don't know enough. 1268 for Swkoll, and 1580. What did I say? Yeah, 1530 for Nickname. So Nickname is starting to kind of pull ahead economically, but the center kind of still scares me a little bit. Here comes the swarm of helicopters from Swkoll. So all of these SAMs that Nickname was building will come in handy as long as the infantry can't get on top of them. You can see how quickly helicopters die to SAMs. And I don't know, yeah, all the missile boats actually went along with the rest of the Navy to make sure that Swkoll can get that dock up. Probably worth it. The SAMs are doing a decent job anyway. The real question will be whether Swkoll can kill any of this production. Because it's definitely not worth it just to damage production with choppers. Like, this was quite expensive, especially if this helicopter goes down, which it doesn't quite. So we can take a look at the rest of the map. This is a huge battle. The reason I look away from this is I think over time Nickname will be able to get this. We'll keep an eye on it, but economically and land-wise, the whole map is almost claimed. 1,600 income for Nickname and almost less than 1,300 for Swkoll. So Squall's like a decent ways behind here, and Nickname is developing. Yeah, they have 2 cities here. We can check the bottom. They are getting this industry. Likely we'll get the rest of the industry once, like, the multitask, because I mean the Nickname has forces all the way up in the north here. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in this game, obviously, as most land war games happen. We can kind of get a decent idea of who has more stuff on the map by looking at the upkeep costs. So there's a negative 157 for Swkoll on the land units, and negative 98 on the land units for Nickname. So Nickname technically has probably in general less on the ground. 3 factories for Nickname, because this push is actually starting to look really scary. Because 2 SAMs, like, launching 4 helicopters into 2 SAMs is actually kind of tough. I feel like the Nickname's commandos are pulling this down, but the commandos of Swkoll are in the back here. I don't even know how they got here. Helicopters harassing this dock of Swkoll's Nickname is, but there's some missile boats coming out, and as more missile boats show up, it'll be harder and harder for Nickname to kind of get at that thing. These commandos are making a valiant last stand on the push. Swkoll is going to snipe this gas. We can kind of look at what the gas situation is looking like for Nickname. They have not rebuilt that kind of western gas. This one will go down. They've lost that factory. Do they even have a second gas? Yeah, they of course have this one, right? We already saw this. And we totally lied. They aren't, Nickname's not going to be able to push this. This is tough. This is a very close game. This is very interesting. See, they're totally out of gas, or they're not totally out of gas, but they might be soon. Their income advantage is enormous, but Swkoll's kind of like making a good tactical move to do this. I say as they've now running up into a mountain is really hard in this game. Like, mountains are tough to push because units move so much slower through them. So when their artillery is already set up, if the numbers are close, it always feels like it's hard to get anything done. These 3 tanks could do a ton of damage for Swkoll. Like a ton. If they can get by these artillery instead of just bumping into them the whole time. 1 random commando for Nickname is chilling here, just taking that territory themselves, just rebelling it. And in the back, we'll see what these 2 barracks are going to be able to do. Because we can also check real quick if they're actually producing things. And they are. They're producing infantry. So it'll be interesting to see that easternmost edge of the map develop. Nickname's lost all the choppers besides 2. And you can see this kind of flock of choppers for Swkoll, which could be deadly against even 3 SAMs. I don't think 3 SAMs are really a huge deal for this many choppers. Yeah, they took it out so quick. And now they're going to get this this factory. Swkoll is out of gas though. Swkoll's commandos were able to get this city, so Swkoll's done a great job to kind of snipe this city twice and get these commandos through. I don't even know where they're coming from. It's kind of hard to pay attention. The real big problem for Swkoll is that everything is grounded because they've run out of gas. Nickname has the gas in 1600 economy, and Swkoll's down by 400 on the economic side of things, and is out of gas. So at some point they lost the gas. We didn't even see it. Caster of the year goes to us. We don't even see when the only gas for players snipes. We can look up here. This might become scary for Nickname. This could become scary. I don't know what this... Maybe there's a gas up here? No, okay, it's a city. I thought it was a dock. Or a shipyard, rather. So Swkoll, I mean, it's good that they're developing economically. Because push-wise, they're doing pretty good. It's going to become a question of whether they can group here and fight. Because Nickname's done a great job to kind of like counter-push as a group. Because this is a lot of firepower since it gets to go all at once, right? Like all those artillery are fighting on that 1 tank. Swkoll is able to lift the birds, the choppers a little bit, but there's just not enough gas. And it's kind of scary for them because if they aren't able to even retreat these helicopters, without gas they might not be able to. The things they have going, that Swkoll has going for them is these 3 commandos can do a lot of damage. I don't think they'll get this airfield, but they might. It'll be a question of how much health it has. They do get this industry. Swkoll's going to be able to take this mountain ridge. I believe they'll be able to take this. And then it could be tough for Nickname to push this, and this airfield becomes very exposed. That's the notification for Swkoll being out of gas, as we can hear. And Nickname on the right side is actually making a lot of strides, because this is a kind of overwhelming number for them on that eastern side of the map. These artillery are in a kind of tough position, but numbers-wise, they should be able to do it. The helicopter for Nickname, maybe get another helicopter into it. They have the gas, which the Swkoll still does not. We can see if there's any gas on the way for Swkoll. I don't know why I look up here, because Nickname has this gas. They probably could get that gas. I think it's just like there's so much going on, right? Because they only have one gas. I'm very sure they only have one gas. I could be missing the most obvious thing, but either way, the gas situation for Swkoll is the thing that's kind of holding this back in some sense. Because there was so many helicopters. Like, look at all these helicopters that unfortunately died, like, on the ground. And now there's so many SAMs. I think those helicopters down to the ground, even if they did, the point is, unfortunately, Swkoll wasn't able to move them before there were 4 or 5 SAMs sitting on top of it. There's a lot going on in this game, and these commandos by Swkoll are still doing such a good job. Like, this is, again, the work that Swkoll's been able to do, kind of going into the behind enemy lines on Nickname, I think has been one of the reasons why the game is as close as it is right now. 1330 on the resources for Swkoll, 1460 for Nickname. So Nickname still has a little bit of that advantage. They have the naval advantage. There's no way that Swkoll's going to be able to take this lake on the right, and they might be able to. They'll be able to take this lake on the left, and we'll see if that, as that comes into play, as that becomes a more important geographical position, we'll see how, like, you know, if that pays off for Swkoll to invest in that dock. Certainly being able to transport things across is big, because these commandos can keep going, right? And they can just keep being annoying. This is a large fight. There's a lot at home for Nickname. That might be intentional to kind of get a group going, getting ready for a big push, and this is to delay what's going on. Or, of course, it's just 37 minutes into a line war game, and there's a gazillion things going on. This is becoming scary for Nickname, because artillery-wise, that is a lot. These are interceptors coming out for Nickname, which aren't going to help them there. It did when there was an airfield for Swkoll, but there isn't anymore. Nickname's just below 1,500 resources. Swkoll is less than that, so Swkoll's still at the economic disadvantage, and they're losing a lot of this land on the right side of the map. I think this is actually the most positive development for Nickname, because they also have these SAMs. They're kind of fighting infantry a little bit, but they're taking out these helicopters. These 2 missile ships are also helping, and the cruisers are going to be able to take out that dock, so I think that's looking really good for Nickname. The side that they're losing on is this bottom side. And I mean, you can be the judge if you think that this army that's kind of grouping up for Swkoll is going to be able to push into here to get on top of this production. But certainly if it does, that'll be a very tough situation for Nickname, because that is a lot of their factory tech, and we all know factory tech is the best tech in the game. You know, whatever, they'll say it. I'm not afraid. The commandos for Swkoll still doing a great job. Still doing a fantastic job to keep Nickname multitasked and have to, more importantly, you need to keep things at home to deal with those things, right? And they can't be at the front helping out. These missile boats are kind of getting a beachhead going for Swkoll to keep the commandos going, I believe. Yeah, commandos are being made at that barracks. Nickname, I think, really just has to defend this part of the map, like their economic or their production center. Nickname still has a lead though, economy wise, and I think in a lot of ways it is this right side of the map that's opening up. These 2 SAMs are going to be able to take over or take on an infantry. I am so sure. We can see that there's 4 commandos now Nickname has 2 infantry here that probably will be able to buy enough time for them to get more stuff over there once they realize that the commandos are going to work. And Nickname has their own commandos in the back. Unfortunately, the Swkoll's on top of it and sends 3 helicopters, so that commando likely won't be able to get that town. But importantly, makes it so that in the east part of the map, Swkoll has to send units to deal with it, as opposed to dealing with this counter push that comes out from Nickname here. I don't think that Nickname's gonna lose the refinery. They probably won't. In some sense, I think strikers might be a cool move from Swkoll here, but I don't know. Squall's much better at this game than I am, so the helicopters, they're able to do it. It's just you would be in striking range of, Nickname's airfield, the gas, whatever you want. Squall's doing a great job here to have these commandos in the back, because commandos do twice as much damage as infantry or something. Maybe. It's quite a bit. Helicopters are so weak against SAMs. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, imagine a helicopter going up against a SAM. This doesn't really make sense. Can't evade it. Yeah, and that one will destroy it, and it does. This is a long game. I did not realize this game was this long. So Nickname is up by 200 monies in the economy, which, at this point, especially since, well, both players, they don't have a ton of money, so, it kind of matters. Like, the economy here is important. Nickname can push this, and if they're able to get this production center, it's going to be huge for them. They're still producing infantry down at the bottom here. I don't know why the gas noise is making a thing. It says that they still have a full tank because they have this one. They have the second one. We can do a gas check real quick. Swkoll has... Oh, this is why it beeps. Yeah, so the thing that we saw in the north, it is... Swkoll is going to clean this up. And they're going to be able to push Nickname out of here. Which is, I think, very unfortunate for Nickname, because this now kind of exposes all of this, because these forces of Swkoll are going to be able to push through the back fairly easily. The tank run by, we have, again, tank run by Swkoll. They're in a forest, which means they're super slow. I swear, we missed another nuke. We missed another nuke. We missed another nuke. This is the second game in a row that we've been watching that we miss a nuke, and this is a cheeky nuke spot. What a play by Nickname. That's huge. I think that has to be the beginning of the end, because you can't lose that much of your production as Swkoll. That was a very good play. We kind of got the tail end of it. I don't know how much stuff was killed, but that was a big play by Nickname. And ultimately, this is probably going to shift the game into their favor. Right? Because they're going to be able to push through here. There's no more production to importantly kind of back this up, because Nickname now has their own reinforcements they got to push up, but Swkoll has to rebuild all this production, which they're doing right here. Luckily, the big win for Swkoll is that they get that north. They've been able to clear that. And if they can get this gas, because they have a commando on top of it, that could be big, because we can check the gas of Nickname. They still have enough to launch like all of their absolutely nothing gas vehicles they have, because there's only one helicopter that isn't flying because of all these SAMs, right? So gas wise, it's not a huge deal. They're certainly winning on this right side, which is big. There's 2 factories, and the thing that you're going to see potentially is that on the right side, the east side of the map, is that Nickname's going to be able to group and push through the back while also taking the front fight. And the only thing that Swkoll will have going for them is this northern part, which is big, but economy-wise, we'll see where they're at. Nickname is at almost 1,500, and Swkoll is at like 1,400, so it's closer than it has been. And these helicopters are doing a lot. These SAMs, unfortunately, aren't quite at the spot in order to take advantage of the 4 that were just, or 3 that were kind of hovering there. Swkoll's done a great job to counterattack and kill this gas. That's a huge play. This you know, behind enemy line stuff that Swkoll's done has been effective all game long. That is the real MVP of this game. Nickname's running up into, well, we saw just how many artillery just spawned, so quite a bit of artillery. They might start making artillery out of the back. We'll see. This commando is super not going to be able to make it. We'll see. We'll see if Swkoll develops this northern part of the map economically a little bit more. We can see how much money they have. You know, so cash flow wise, both players have cash to work with a little bit at least. Swkoll is making more money quicker than Nickname, but at the moment, so we'll see if, like, as that swing, because it feels like Swkoll's gonna be able to kind of counter push this pretty well coming up, as long as they don't lose a lot of their economy to those commandos. This helicopter is now taking on 3 SAMs. And I mean, you can see what happens when that happens. Yeah, so we're seeing that Nickname's just kind of going for it to go to this gas, I assume. Swkoll's trying to get 2 cheeky production buildings, a barracks, and a factory in the bottom left of the map, which is a huge play, because if you're not paying attention, the multitasking kind of falls apart, and then that can do a lot of damage. Almost 1,500 income for Nickname, and now we can see Swkoll is tied up. So this is again very close. This is a really great game. Nickname's going to clean up this bottom part, but there's still commandos that are coming across. This has been such a great transport route for Swkoll all game long. We can see what they're making out of their navy. These missile boats. Missile boats. I wonder if Nickname wants to try to recapture this north part. They are. How did these even get here? Oh my gosh. Yeah, Nickname built the sneakiest base in the north. Like the very top of the map. You can barely even see it. That's a play I need to start using more. When you get pushed out of an area, if you can just find like even one little bit of territory that you can kind of just put a bunch of production on, like it's hard to keep track of things in this game, clearly. We probably missed another nuke somewhere. These tanks doing run-bys from Swkoll, and it's huge. There's, you know, they're going to get these 2 barracks, they're going to get this town. These helicopters of Nicknames are going to have to rip over there as quick as they can. Remains to be seen if they're going to get there in time. Not sure how this looks. I like the idea of the just retreat, go get on top of the production. And Nickname does get the helicopter. It's kind of tough to say how this goes. On the right side, I would have thought that Nickname had the advantage, but now it looks like it's maybe not. The key is the income. Nickname's at just under 1,500, and so, I mean, the income is, yeah, it's the same. Income is the exact same right now. 48 minutes into this game between Someone Said That My Nickname Sucks and Swkoll. And it's an honor to be able to do this, although I have no idea what's going on at this point. There's just so much going on. This tank and these commandos and there's just commandos and tanks and like 1 infantry unit. They're going to be able to take out that city of Nickname, and Nickname's going to get on all of this production, because this push is everything goes with it. Nickname should be able to push to that far airport, even with these helicopters. If these SAMs are able to kill these helicopters, these 2 artillery pieces are going to be picked up by the rest of like Nickname's army that's pushing out of their production. So that's probably not something to be concerned about. We'll see if these SAMs can get here on time. We can go wide to show you if the eastern side of the map is going well for Nickname, or if it's not. Probably still contentious. We'll focus on this, but it's so much artillery. It's so much artillery. And gas-wise, Swkoll has the gas. Nickname doesn't have a ton of gas in reserve. Like, that's only 1 refinery, right? When it's out of 30 like that. So that is not a lot. We can take a quick look at what's just going on down here. Yeah, so the tank and the commandos and infantry were able to take out that town, which probably puts, yeah, probably does put Swkoll at an economical advantage. Economical, yeah, that's fine. I said a word that's real. Yeah, so Swkoll has more economy right now. So nickname has to be like, this is very close. I don't know, because there's enough chopper support for nickname down in that kind of southwest of the map, and we missed another nuke. I'm sure. Did we? Yeah, we must have. This is a big nuke. We're gonna get better at seeing nukes. I promise you. Comment in the section below to tell me that we never see nukes. Just say that. You never see nukes. And we don't. It's true. These helicopters are going to be able to deal with that. Because there's no anti-air and there won't be. So over time the helicopters are going to be able to deal with that left side. This is still tough. It's good because it takes a bunch of units away from Swkoll to be able to send them down to this main thrust of the push. And that nuke or whatever cleared all of this out. Maybe it was just like the army that was fighting. That's a big one that opens. And I think, my guess is that nickname is going to win this. Yeah, nickname has a bigger economy. This has been cleaned up. There's 4 commandos. This barracks is going to be, or this factory is going to be destroyed by that nickname unit that is there. I believe it's infantry. The helicopters here are uncontested because there's no SAMs, and I think this is where the snowball just happens. So this artillery, yeah, the nickname went to artillery up in the top, and it's just gonna be so strong. If Swkoll can get air there, it'd be great. But the problem is that Swkoll kind of needs air over here, because 1 tank and 2 artillery on a setup position of 4 artillery. How does a tank do? We can watch and just enjoy. I mean, there's even helicopters here now for a nickname. So this tank is, helicopters just fly by it. Fuck it. There you go. Takes nothing at all. This is enough infantry from nickname to be able to clean this up. And yeah, nickname was able to is able to push this back and got rid of the production here. Apologies, we definitely missed that. Nickname must have sniped that like earlier, like with those 3 production buildings in the top, and just kind of pushed it, and that would have been a big moment. But I think at this point it's clear that nickname at 1500 income is just edged out in a very well played game by both players. For sure. I mean, that was one of the closest games I've ever seen so far. This gas is for sure going to go down. Swkoll still has more gas, but the thing is, it's just, there's so much artillery over here. These helicopters would have to be over there and over here in order to save the game. And they're just not going to be able to, especially since nickname has their own helicopters. Yeah, very well played by both players. Swkoll's use of like all those backdoors were huge. Like denying this city twice, killing this gas like once or twice. Just enormous plays. Holy cow, 53-minute game. Very fun though. Just a zillion cruisers hanging out in the dockyard. See, the cruiser thing actually did make sense, because then nickname was able to control this entire body of water and get rid of the docks of Swkoll. Yeah, this is it. Swkoll's at under 1200 income, and yeah, nickname's at 1700 almost. GG, well played. Yeah, very cool. Very well played by both players. You know, this is Line War. If you're interested, it looks very cool. There's a Q2 of 2022 tournament that will be going on. Come check out the Discord. Drop by, say hello. I also stream as SodaQuackers. I'm a duck and I stream. There are other folks who stream, so you know, drop by Twitch, see what's up, say hello to folks. Enjoy Have a great day, night, evening, whatever it is. Have fun, and we'll see you around. Peace.